So 1 in 10 people have said that they actually failed the driving test because of driving test nerves. Lucky for you, the DVSA have put together a campaign to help people try and pass their driving test first time where possible and increase that driving test pass rate. They have asked us instructors to share this information with you, but I have gone one step up. I have created a video of this information for you, and at the end of the video there will also be a link to the DVSA website if you would like to see their written version. Now, getting nervous is not a bad thing. It's a natural thing, and in fact, sometimes it's a really good thing. It can keep us on peak performance. Think about the times you get nervous. Job interview, meeting someone that you want to impress. Being nervous actually helps us focus. It helps us be at our absolute peak performance. It helps us react correctly to situations. The problem we've got is when those nerves get out of control. And that can happen on certain things where we want something so badly and someone out of our control has the key to give us and decide whether we get it or not. So what we're going to talk about is how we can stay out of that dangerous nervous zone and stay within the nice, normal, slightly nervous, at peak performance. Let's get it right first time. Let's have a look. The driving test is all about planning ahead. Okay, and not just planning ahead on the driving test, actually planning ahead and planning for your driving test. So if you've got college, university, school, and you've got exams coming up, or you've got another stressful situation that you're having to try and deal with, there's no point doing your driving test at the same time. You might as well rebook it. Yes, driving tests can be quite difficult to come by if you're just trying to book on the DVSA website. If you get yourself a cancellation app, however, I can suggest one in the description below. It's going to be a lot easier to get one, and you can do it in a far less stressful environment. I can tell you for sure, I don't want to be doing a driving test while doing this maths exam. And remember, if you do this right the first time, you only have to do this once in your entire life. So why not just do it right the first time? If you went into an exam, would you go into that half-heartedly, or would you make sure that you are fully prepared before stepping in that room? And it all comes back to the famous saying at the end of the day, doesn't it? Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Part of that is not subscribing. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, subscribe. If you really want to plan ahead the extra mile, also you can have a look at my driving course. Get your driver's license faster and cheaper than ever with our online driving course. Sign up now and start learning at your own pace. Let's get this video started. There to help you pass your driving test first time, includes everything you're going to need on your driving test, and more importantly, to be able to drive for the rest of your life when you pass your test. The beauty of it is it's also being regularly updated, and if you need anything extra in that, you have direct access to me where we can discuss, and I can include whatever else you'd like. The DVSA have suggested that another really important part of the driving test is sleeping well. So I did some research on this and had a look, and actually, they're right. When we sleep well, we are far more alert, we've got far better concentration, our stress levels decrease, our memory retention improves, and you're generally going to be at peak performance if you get a good night's sleep. Now, I know that's way easier said than done. If you're stressing about something, sometimes we just can't sleep, and that's okay. All I'm suggesting is this is not one of those nights that you should be going to bed and trying to survive on 5-6 hours sleep, because this is a very important day. So remember, you will be on top performance with a good night's sleep and a quick thumbs up on the video. Da, 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 da. Be yourself, but be your super positive best self. If you think positive and you believe in yourself, you're going to feel far more confident. And for a driving test, that's a pretty important part of the job. It'll also massively help reduce those levels of anxiety and stop you focusing on pointless acts such as the examiner, such as a mistake that you might have made, and focus ahead and stay in the moment, which is going to help you stay focused and more likely to pass your driving test. What can really help you stay positive is thinking about a positive outcome. So in relation to the driving test, we be visualizing ourselves already past that driving test with that driving test certificate, saying thank you to the examiner, saying thank you to your instructor, and walking away with our certificate. That way you're already visualizing a positive outcome to the test, and you're not going to be focusing on the negative side and the what ifs. If you're anything like me, you love nothing more than a good coffee or a good cup of tea in the morning. You might even love something that gives you wings. All I can say is, don't do it. If I have any more than 2, sometimes 3 coffees a day, I know I'm going to end up feeling shaky, jittery, heart racing. Everyone knows that horrible feeling where you think, I really shouldn't have had that last coffee. And that's on a good day without a driving test coming up or something else that's stressful. Trust me, you're not going to need any caffeine or anything else to keep you awake on that driving test day. Your body is going to supply so much adrenaline and everything else that you need to keep you going, keep you nice and focused without adding any fuel to the fire. Don't feed the monster. Grrr. Now, have you ever been in that situation where you're thinking about what happened before, or what could have happened before, or what if? You're not staying in the moment. This is what mindfulness is for. It's to help us get back in the moment and think about what's happening right now. It's the practice of being present, staying engaged in whatever activity you are currently doing. And as you can imagine on a driving test, this is really, really important, because the second you start thinking about what if, what is the examiner thinking, what is the examiner writing in their iPad? Oh my God, I forgot to check my mirrors. What do I do? It's all going to fall apart. It all starts to go peak-tong around you. Now, there's a few easy ways that you can use mindfulness to your advantage without too much practice. The first one is called commentary driving. I have got a video on that. Things like playing the no stopping game are going to keep your mind active and present in the moment. But basically, commentary driving is when you're talking out loud. And the reason this helps is because it constantly keeps our mind focused on what's happening ahead down the road and not what's happening behind us or in the past. It also keeps our eyes and mind from focusing on the driving test examiner and actually focusing on our driving instead. It's also going to massively reduce your anxiety because you're not going to be focusing on other nonsense that you don't need to focus on, and it's going to keep you focused on the road and actually what you need to do to pass your driving test. Now, when I first started commentary driving, I did feel a little bit like a sausage. However, with practice, the same as anything else, you get past that, you get used to it, and trust me, you become a far better driver because of it. Now, I'll be honest, this next one I did think was some mumbo jumbo at the start. It took me a little bit of time to get used to it, to practice this and put it into play. But after I tried everything else in the world, including speaking to a doctor, I thought maybe it's time to give it a go. Now, the main mindfulness technique I use is just breathing. Breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 5 seconds, and breathing out for 4 seconds. Sounds simple, sounds pointless. Very, very helpful. And there's a huge amount of research into this. So if you search online, anything to do with mindfulness, you'll be amazed at what you can find. Now, I will put a link in the description for mindfulness as well, because as I say, I believe it's hugely helpful for anyone out there that is getting particularly anxious. There are also driving instructors out there that are specifically trained in using mindfulness and helping people with anxiety disorders as well. So do your research. If you do think you fall into that category, it's well worth having a look around. The final point to think about is we know how hard it is to get a driving test right now, okay? And that can add a huge amount of stress to your learning as well. So here's how you can take that stress away a little bit. Get yourself a cancellation app. Now, the cancellation apps are not as effective as they were because the measures have been put in place to stop people taking the mick with them, basically. And instead of just booking your driving test, now they will just give you a heads up when there is a cancellation available, which does make it far fairer for everyone out there. It is also a massively useful tool if you are looking to get a driving test sooner rather than later. And it takes the pressure off waiting for a driving test massively. To give you an example of this, last week I had a student who booked a driving test just 4 days before the driving test date, which they went to and they passed. Point being though, is it takes the pressure off knowing that that possibility is there. It is available. All you've got to do is download an app, and there you go. There is one in the description. Feel free to have a look, or just there if you want to have a look at a cancellation app yourself. And if you want to see more information about driving nerves, driving anxiety, have a look at my other video, Is the Driving Test Scary? If you want to find out more information about driving test nerves, driving anxiety, Is the Driving Test Scary? My next video that's on the screen now will help you overcome those nerves and give you some ideas about how to deal with them. Thank you very much. I am Josh, your driving instructor. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.